welcome back, everybody, to the PK Sportscast. I'm your boy John, aka that PK boy, here with Nok and Mango today. How's it going, fellas?
Going
It's
well.
going great, man.
Oh, dude, we are gonna go ahead and just dive into a pretty interesting topic this week, man. We'll just address the elephant in the room. Chiefs lost another big one to the Bengals this week. Unfortunately, another 3-point loss to Joe Burrow and the Bengals. So, with this big shakeup this week, we got to pose the question now for the other side of the league. Who's the top of the AFC now? Buffalo just obviously went into the 1 seed, but who do you really believe in? Knock, I want to throw this one to you first.
Man, this one hurt. This one hurt. When we lost to the Bills, I came in here and I said I already forgot about it. I said I'm not worried about it. I give two shits. Congratulations, Bills. I talked a little shit to the Bills Mafia. Um, Kansas City can't be considered to be the top of the AFC right now. I mean, look, the Bills are in first place statistically, and they beat Kansas City. We also lost to the Bengals, who coincidentally beat us in the AFC Championship last year. They beat us the last time, three straight games, as you mentioned. They clearly have our number. They clearly have Kansas City's number. As much as it pains me to say, I don't think that Kansas City is necessarily the team to beat. With that said, I still believe Kansas City can beat either of those two teams any given Sunday. I still feel like Kansas City has a better than 50% chance to beat either one of those teams any given Sunday, even though the stats don't necessarily say that. So that's just kind of what my gut says. The defense was lackluster this week in Kansas City. That doesn't look like a championship caliber defense. I literally watched them double and triple team Chris Jones all day long, and nobody else could consistently get pressure on their one-on-ones. No one was consistently winning one-on-ones. Frank Clark, as much as you cost, you have got to do much better winning these one-on-ones. Karloftis, I love the motor. I love the motor, but you've got to win. You've got to win at the point of contact. You've got a second. You've got a second. So as the rookie, hey, I got belief in you. You certainly aren't costing Kansas City what Frank Clark is. I expect way more out of him. We can't keep blitzing Snead all the time. We obviously need him in the secondary to do what he's actually best at. We need to be able to get pressure with our front four. We're not going to be able to contend in the playoffs if we're not able to do that. If I had to pinpoint the top team in the AFC, I would have to say the Bills. They did beat Kansas City. They're more consistent than the Bengals have been. But if Lamar comes back, I think he might have something to say about it. I mean, there's a lot of contention in the AFC. Matt, I know you were pretty heated about this when we were getting ready for the show. What are your thoughts on who the top team in the AFC is now?
Oh man, it's an exciting time to be a football fan. I'll say that. Going into the game this past weekend, you're right, man. It hurt a lot. Anytime you get beat three straight times by a team, no matter how good they are, it's just it's a little personal because I know me personally going into this week, obviously being a Chiefs fan, I was like, this is the year. Like we got that ass this year. They ain't doing nothing. We're gonna torch them. Like I was thinking it was gonna be 14, 17 point differential. Man, you hit the nail right on the head. Excuse me. That lackluster defense. It did enough to keep us in the game, I suppose, but absolutely right. Chris Jones was triple teamed all game long. We had no penetration. Our secondary was getting torched because we were constantly blitzing DBs into the backfield to try to get some pressure. It didn't work. We didn't change up, and that's what happens when you don't change your defense. I mean, that's just what happens, and especially playing a team that good. I will give praise where it's due. Cincinnati has a hell of a football team, and Joe Burrow looks damn good. Jamar Chase, that whole team, and that defensive line and offensive line that they restructured, holy shit. They money well placed. Great job. But to be considered the top team that I think Kansas City is, because I still do believe Kansas City is the top team in the AFC. I really do, hands down. I agree with you. Statistically, that might not be correct. But if you were to put, unfortunately, we don't do this in the NFL, but if you were to put these games in a 3-game series, I couldn't tell you who's going to win, honestly. I mean, that's how close these teams are. When you look at Kansas City, Buffalo, Baltimore, Cincinnati, all those teams that have had some rough patches, they're all so close neck and neck. It's an exciting time to be a football fan, like I said. So I'm still rolling with Kansas City as the top team in the AFC on the simple fact that any given Sunday, I think any of those 3 teams could beat each other. All in all, I think we need to tighten up on defense 100%. I think when we get in those high pressure moments, we've got some guys on offense, including Patrick Mahomes this week, that they let it go to their head and they try to press a little too much, and that's when mistakes happen. So if we can clean up those mistakes, where I know that they will, I trust Andy Reid, I trust Patrick Mahomes, we're going to be fine going into the end of the year. It was a tough loss to see, but I'm really looking forward to going into Denver in week 14 and putting a whooping on the Broncos. But that's my take. John, I know you had a couple thoughts on this week's game.
I mean, you know, you guys pretty much said what I would have said. Obviously, as far as not being happy that Cincinnati came out with another win, but you got to give respect whenever any team beats you 3 times straight. You can't say many excuses. You just got to say, hey, man, they're playing better football right now. I mean, they came in without Joe Mixon and got a win again. So, great defense. I wish that Kansas City had a better than middle of the pack defense, but it is what it is. We had a great offense. I still think that we're a great team. I still think that we have just as good a chance as anybody to make it and win a Super Bowl. We're still 9-3. We're just losing a head to head. The thing that does concern me as far as the Chiefs are concerned, though, is, there are about 3 teams that I would say if we see them in the playoffs, I could be concerned, right? We barely snuck out a win against Tennessee, and we've lost to both the Bengals and the Bills now. We haven't played the Ravens. So it's like, if we can't beat those teams, I don't give a shit about the other 9 wins. We got to be able to beat them. Same thing with Buffalo. It's the same thing people say about Buffalo every year. You can win 12, 13 games a season all you want to, but if you keep losing to the Chiefs, that's not going to help
Right.
you. You know what I mean? So I would really hate to see us become the Bills for the Bengals, right? Where they just have our number, and no matter what happens, they're going to beat us in the playoffs. I hope that we get our redemption shot and win the one that matters against the Bengals this postseason. But we're gonna have to go in there and earn it, man. Like I said, they didn't even have Mixon, and they still beat us. So I know we're pretty dinged up as well. But, with our receiving core and our defense the way it is, don't have the best running game, even though Pacheco's been really nice as an addition. I can't say that the Chiefs are the top of the AFC for me right now. I don't even want to say this on camera. I don't. I'm shooting from the hip here, guys, and I'm sorry, but fuck, man, I gotta go with the Bengals right now, dude. They're on a 4-game win streak. They're balling out. They're winning against teams that matter. The Bills have been giving away the close ones, and the Bengals have shown that they can win close games. I was taking a look at some of their losses, and when they lose bad, and that was all at the beginning of the season. They're getting hot when it matters, and if they can take this momentum into the postseason, we could be seeing a return to the Super Bowl. I mean, we didn't believe in it last year, and it happened. I definitely think they have just as good a chance to do it this season. So I think that's my pick right now. But as you guys know, my two earlies, I went with the Bills. I think I'm looking pretty good either way on those. But
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Look, the Bengals look good. The thing about the Bengals that scares me as a Chiefs fan is that it just seems like we're getting outcoached when we play them. It seems like, Spags just always a step behind with that defense. And I know how Andy does it. I know he likes to sandbag. I know when he knows he's going to see a team again, he won't show all his cards the first time. But at some point, it's going to become mental to the players and to the coaches that, hey, this team just has our number. So, I hate to see us go out like that. It really didn't. I mean, the last drive when they were just driving, I mean, there were so many breakdowns on defense. Literally, guys wide open in the red zone. Eh, The the touchdown play that they scored at the end, they were all confused of who was supposed to be guarding on man coverage. It, I mean, this isn't the preseason. This is when the games matter. We need people. We need our team to step up, win these games. This is the type of game that matters, and you could see it in the face and the body language of those players. They were not happy about that loss. This is something they circled on the calendar, and they failed to meet that objective. So hopefully this hurts. Hopefully they learn from this and they move forward with a fire and a sense of urgency. I will say we do have a nice schedule to rebound with. Um, Going into the playoffs, but damn, it didn't look good from the coaching standpoint either.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I would say like the Bills and the Bengals both have a pretty, at least much more difficult rest of the schedule than the Chiefs in comparison. I would say, um, but we'll see, man. It's going to come down to the postseason. Um, you know, I don't know about outcoached. I just think that we beat ourselves on offense. At least what I was seeing, it just seemed like when it mattered, we just could not finish on offense. There were some miscommunications. We had a few dropped catches. Um, dinged up receiving core. I think Juju came out like in the first or second quarter, right? Um, I don't
Yeah,
know.
but I mean, we're not even put in situations like that if our defense has any type of change or penetration or any kind of life, man. I mean, Sunday we just got beat in all facets of the game on defense. On defense, our defense got their ass beat on Sunday. So there's no other way around it. If they could have just held held on any kind of time in that game, I think we could have pulled it out. But when you're getting wide open receivers all game long and you're just driving on the field doing whatever you want, man, it's gonna go your way. So
Well, again, it's frustrating because they were talking so much crap during the week leading up to the game. There was all this Twitter feud with Justin Reed and
yep.
and those guys, the receiving core of the Bengals. He's going to lock down Higgins and stuff, and then they beat our ass like that. And then this fool has the nerve to get on Twitter today and post some stuff. Yeah, I know we lost, but I still locked him down.
I
Man,
saw that.
shut the hell up and go in there and be with your team. So what are you trying to say? You trying to say you guys lost, but it wasn't your fault?
It's
Man,
exactly what he's
shut the
saying.
fuck up, asshole. Get the hell out of here. Get the hell out of here. No one wants that attitude. No one wants to deal with that. That's a lack of maturity. And it's a moment like that that make us remember Tyrann Mathieu and wish we had that kind of leadership.
I
Um,
was just about to say that. Like
Mm-hmm.
I don't like Tyrone gets on Twitter sometimes, but not like that. Like
no, that was just show. And I know that he's a young man, and I get it. I'm sure he'll grow from that. But that was a bad look for him. Not, and there's no fan in Kansas City that saw that and was like, "Yeah, you got him good on that one, Reed." Like, no, it was just a bad look. So we need to be quiet, go to work, keep our head down, and earn some wins.
mm, mm, agreed, man. Well, moving on to some other teams in the AFC that did not make our honorable mention, I guess, in that topic. Um, the Ravens. As we all saw this weekend, Lamar came out early in the game with a PCL injury. They're saying that right now he's supposed to be a day-to-day decision, just to see how he gets better. But it kind of poses the question: are the Ravens' playoff hopes in jeopardy if Lamar misses some time? They are 8-4, and they're winning their division on a head-to-head right now with the Bengals. But they do see the Bengals again this season. 5 games left, have the same record. Marengo, I'm gonna throw this one to you first, man. What do you think?
Oh man. Well, first off, I really hope Lamar gets better. Hope he's healing right. But it was an ugly game, ugly win. They got the dub. They played what I like to call a Tim Tebow game. They didn't have great stats, but they got the dub. And it was over the Broncos, ironically, saying Tim Tebow. But Huntley was able to deliver a late touchdown to seal the win. So I mean, good for them. As far as it impacting Baltimore, I think it absolutely does. If Lamar Jackson has to miss more than a week, in my mind, even missing a week at this point is crucial. With the competition he just has in that division alone, you've got the Bengals breathing down your neck. You've got I know the Browns aren't considered very much of a threat, but they do have Deshaun Watson. If you start losing some games, everything's kind of up in the air for Baltimore if Lamar has to miss some time. And so, just looking at their schedule for the rest of the year, I know the Steelers haven't been all that great, but they're starting to look better. And anytime you play the Steelers, it's a punch in the mouth the whole game. The Steelers are a tough team no matter what. You still got the Browns, and now you got to play him with Deshaun. So it's a completely different offense.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to get better every week, man. And he didn't look too bad his first week out. And they also still have to play the Bengals, who just beat arguably the best team in the AFC. So they have a tough schedule. If Lamar has to miss any time with as banged up as Baltimore already is, with I'd say 5 or 6 weapons on offense and defense gone, and I don't see Baltimore anyway making the playoffs at all this year if Lamar has to miss any time.
That's tough.
Yeah, that's crazy. I can't agree with you more. Look, let's be clear. Baltimore doesn't have a whole lot of options, right? I mean, Baltimore doesn't have what Miami has in weapons, right? Baltimore doesn't have the luxury of being able to go to a guy. Lamar is that guy. I mean, their best offensive weapon is a big, giant ass SpongeBob SquarePants shaped tight end who somehow, some way, still puts up a hundo every week, right? And Mark Andrews. It's kind of crazy how successful they are with the seemingly lack of weapons that they have there. Who's their top 2 receivers there? Off the top of your
Well,
head, you see what I'm
Devin
saying?
Duvernay. That's the only one I know.
Right. And so, they just have a lack of weapons there. So it's clear that if Lamar's not there, that they really just don't have a shot. The AFC is chock full of teams that are all still in contention for first place. I mean, the Jets are 2 games out of first place in the AFC. Think about
That's
it.
so crazy.
Right now, week 11 done in the books. The Jets are 2 games out of first place in the AFC. So, there's just too many good teams for Baltimore Ravens to lose 2 or 3 games. If they go on a skid, it's a wrap. It's curtains. With that being said, I do root for Lamar. I do. First of all, he is my starting quarterback on my fantasy team that I have the most money on, so I'm clearly rooting for him because I'm right there. Like, am I going to make the playoffs? Am I not going to make the playoffs? I really need Lamar in right now. So I'm rooting for you, big guy. Also, he just seems like he's a kind of a classy individual. You don't see a lot of stuff from him off the field. He did bet on himself in the offseason. He did not take the contract that was offered by Baltimore. So, if he has a long-term injury, it could really end up costing him because he doesn't have a 10-year deal locked down like Pat Mahomes does. He doesn't have the guaranteed money that Deshaun Watson does. So I'm really rooting on him to come back, have a full recovery, and play well, not only for my sake, but clearly for his sake. But yeah, if he doesn't, the Ravens are toast. And the kid that they have it as a backup, I'm just not sold on him. He just doesn't look like the guy to me. He doesn't look like the heir apparent. I don't know, John. What do you think?
I'm gonna stick a pin in it for Bob because you triggered me with talking about fantasy football. I have to say something funny while it's on my mind, man. And I'm hitting to something else too. in fantasy football, I've had such a terrible injury year. I've got Javonte Williams, Cooper Kupp, Matt Stafford, all on IR. And guess who joined them this week as my backup quarterback? Good old Jimmy G, Marengo's favorite quarterback, went on IR too. Just having an amazing injury-riddled season. I've now lost all playoff hopes. I had 58 points last week with all my injuries that happened this week. I had 0 points from Sutton. Anyways, and Marengo, I'll save it for next week.
I had 0 points from Sutton too.
I'll save it for next week when Caleb's here too. But I got something to say about Jimmy G for y'all, so just letting you know. But as far as Lamar,
don't even worry. I got 2 pages of notes right here, ready to go. Bring that ass here.
Is it X-rays of it? Never mind. All right. So, as far as Lamar goes, I don't have too much to add to that. I think it's pretty apparent. Like if they lose 3 games, it's potentially not even a playoff season for them. They're 8-4. They don't have a lot of room to really wiggle there. I don't know if I necessarily have faith that the Jets are going to win out and the Ravens will lose and not make it. But I mean, it is possible. Luckily, though, it sounds like Lamar's going to be playing probably, if not next week, then the following week. I think what I really want to focus on as far as this goes is they really got to make a decision on Lamar at the end of this season, man. You were kind of getting at that too. Is it's a contract year, and this is just kind of the an example of what could be in their future if they were to give him Russell Wilson money and then he gets hurt, right? So
true.
Especially when they don't have any weapons for him to throw it to. I think it puts both Lamar and the organization in a really weird spot where I personally, because I think he's a good dude, I would love to see Lamar come back and ball out and have a good postseason for his own sake. Because, man, I mean, if I'm the Ravens right now and he misses 2 or 3 games and they don't make the playoffs or they're one and dones in a wild card round, shoot, you might be looking at other options. They may not want to be the next Broncos.
All right, well, the grass is always greener, right? So they're probably looking
what other
at
options are they looking at that's better than Lamar Jackson?
Well, yeah.
Hey, man, look, we've seen some crazy stuff happen in the NFL. I'm not saying that they should get rid of Lamar. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that I'm trying to play devil's advocate here and say that
I get you.
if I'm a person who's saying that there are other options and you're trying to be open-minded, I mean, shoot, I would say, other people have asked, should they get rid of Lamar? And I don't think so if he's healthy. If he's got a deeper issue and they're like, oh, actually, he comes back too early and he tears an MCL, ACL,
well,
that's tough.
Clearly, they've already spoke on it. They didn't want to give him the big money. They didn't want to give him the big money. Now, the big money is not a discretionary thing. There is a market for a top-range quarterback. You have a quarterback who won an MVP. Okay? The MVP beckons a X amount of dollars at the quarterback position in the NFL. Now, they know the damn number, and they refuse to give it to him. So they have decided, and they said it with their pocketbook, that they don't believe that he's the guy. They don't believe that he's the guy that you pay Pat Mahomes money to. They don't believe that he's the guy that you pay Deshaun Watson money to. They don't believe he's the guy you pay Kirk Cousins money to. They don't believe that he's the guy. So he said, you know what? I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you. So, we're going to see if he can come back. If he doesn't, and he doesn't get his money there, I promise you someone will pay him.
Oh, man, I promise they will. And I hate them, and I don't want it to happen, but, just as a big FU to the Ravens, if they were to let him go, if he went to, the Steelers.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
Oh, I'm going to tell you what.
Exactly what I was thinking.
No, this is their problem because they would trade him for Kenny Pickett and a little something extra. They've probably been listening to Chris Collinsworth, dumbass, talk about how great Herbert is, and they're wishing they had a Herbert, even they got an MVP right under their nose already in the building.
Close to Lamar, though. That's crazy.
But I would promise you that there are general managers in the league, maybe even there in Baltimore, who would disagree with you. And they would sign Herbert to the big money. but not a guy like Lamar.
And you know what's going to happen is they're going to do that, and they're going to have to fire every single offensive coordinator. They're going to have to fire the head coach because everything they've done for the past 5 years has been built around Lamar Jackson.
Well, it's funny you say that. I know this is a side topic, but really quick, did you guys see who got fired today?
No.
Or
it was
the general
GM.
manager
Yeah.
of the Tennessee Titans, the guy who put together the trade to trade away AJ Brown. AJ Brown and the Eagles just came to town and whooped their ass. And so he just got fired because he did that trade, and the guys they're not happy with the way that turned out. They don't feel like they got a good deal
What
on
did
that
they
one at
get
all.
for AJ again? Like,
They
what
got
the
two
hell did
picks. They got 2 picks. They got like a
Good-
18
Listen.
overall, like a first and a second round pick or something.
AJ bounced back like a bad relationship, man. He proved he wasn't. Listen, the Eagles are doing great. The Eagles are doing
AJ
great.
was the piece they needed. So yeah, my bad. I can go into that.
They had
but
some serious seller's remorse, and so yeah, they let him go. But yeah,
That's wild, man. That's nuts. Well, hopefully we'll all see Lamar come back, and I hope to see him come out and ball out and get that big paycheck from the Ravens. And if not, I totally agree. He's going to get it from somewhere, and I hope to God it is in the NFC if it does happen. Because honestly, I think Marengo's Atlanta team would look a hell of a lot better with Lamar behind center.
when you said what you said about the Steelers, I was thinking the Niners. I think Lamar on the Niners is dangerous,
God. With
dangerous.
Debo and Christian,
and Kittle. He you know what Kittle would do with him at quarterback. You see what they're doing with SpongeBob. Imagine what they'd be doing with Kittle. Oh my God, it would be unreal. You do not want to see Lamar in a Niners jersey. The Niners should be making that call right now. I guess it's not. They're past the trade deadline, but yeah, they should. If Baltimore is not willing to sign him, the Niners should look at it and say, "Man, look, this is what we never were. We're not going to get out of Trey Lance. We're not going to get out of Kaepernick. Blah blah blah." So this is a perfect quarterback for that system.
Yeah, I can't agree with you more. I didn't even think about that. That's crazy. Maybe I would actually have faith in the 49ers at that point, but that's neither here nor there. Last thing I want to say, because you keep saying it about Mr. Mark Andrews, SpongeBob SquarePants. This is a direct statement to a friend of mine who said one of the most ignoramus things I've ever heard in my life to me. This was actually about a month ago, and I told him it was so dumb I will never repeat something like that on camera, but I'm still festering on it. So I'm going to say it, and I'm going to just throw it to you guys. A friend of ours named Ross, he said to me that there was not really a gap between Mark Andrews and Travis Kelce.
Shut the fuck up. Oh my God.
Yeah, I hit y'all.
Ross, come on, man. Come on. What are you doing? Listen, you'll never be on the show. You'll never be on the show. I'm sorry.
He might need to be on the show to answer that.
I love and respect all of the listeners that take the time to, but I think there's a reason why some should always just be listeners, because that is a horrible take. Horrible take.
Oh my God.
And so now I'm always sending him hilarious things like that have to do with gaps, because he's always like, there's really no gap. So yeah, if you have any fun memes.
One of the greatest to ever do it versus somebody that's kind of average, whatever. It's the same.
There's no gap. There's not really a gap. And if there is one, there's not much of one. That was his take.
Oh.
All right. No, I just so everybody here knows, I just hit them with that off guard because I wanted a genuine reaction. So that was great. Thank you, Ross, for providing me that.
I need to make the Caleb face right now.
the
eye roll, the Caleb eye roll when I say, "How about them Cowboys?" That's why I need that face right now.
Oh my goodness. Well, we'll move on from that craziness because there's not much else to say, but you need help. So we'll go ahead and recap this last week, man. for those of you that listen every week, you can probably go ahead and go take your bathroom break, go get you a coffee, a new drink or something, because there's not much different. Nok took the week again with 5.5 points. I think that's just his lucky number is 5.5. So he is sitting in first place with a steady lead of 56.5. And Caleb isn't here to claim his second place trophy. Caleb had probably his best week this season. He came in second place with 3.5 points. He has now cut his lead, or cut his his last place to third, made it a lot shorter. He's at 33 points. Marengo is at 36.5. He had 1 point this week. So Marengo's in third, and I've got 3 points this week. I'm now at 43 in second place. So, speaking of gaps, there's a gap there from 56.5 to 43. That's the first to second place gap between me and Nok. Third place Marengo 36.5, and then Caleb in last place with 33. So interesting week. I would love to see Caleb come out and just get like 10 next week. There's only 13 games. It could happen, but yeah, it's coming down to it. 5 weeks of football left, and Nok's got about 20 on everybody. So we'll see how it goes. But we'll go ahead and jump into the surprises. Nok, I want to throw it to you first, man. What was your big surprise this week?
I had such a hard time with this when we were talking about it before we started recording, because I didn't know what I wanted to talk about. There were so many things that really stood out to me this week. I'm just looking at my notes here, and one thing that stood out to me, and I'm not going to go into it, but good job, Raiders. Good for you. Good for you. Found a way to pull one out. Sorry ass team. Anyways, my biggest surprise, and it shouldn't be a surprise to anyone, is my man Baker Mayfield just got waived this week. Now, if you don't really understand, general manager speak and don't know what that means, Baker Mayfield got fired. Baker Mayfield was told, we no longer see any role for you in our organization. And we also don't have any value at trade. We can't trade you right now. We're not even going to keep you till the end of the season and trade you at that point to get something for it. It's actually in our benefit to just fire you right now, because the salary we have to pay you through the end of this year is more valuable than any trade that we will be able to get for you if we were to wait. Just think about that. This man I just seen him on a commercial like 3 weeks ago. He's on a team that he's competing, and he just lost his job to a guy named PJ Walker. Now, I got no disrespect to PJ. I do not know him, but I never heard of PJ. Well, I don't watch a lot of college football. I'm not an aficionado, but PJ Walker's not a household name, but Baker Mayfield is. Sam Darnold is not a household name, but Baker Mayfield is. And it's unfortunate to see this guy has lost his job to these guys. When you have people playing like Geno, playing better than Russell, you have guys in the league that have a job, and Baker Mayfield is out. Geno Smith is leading a team deep into the second half of the season, going to win that division probably, and Baker Mayfield doesn't have a job? That's just crazy to me. So that's my biggest surprise. Let that settle in. I don't know what you do for a living, but don't get too motherfucking proud of yourself and think you're all of that, because you might be on a Progressive commercial today and your ass will be jobless in a couple of weeks. So let's stay humble, y'all. Let's stay humble.
Yeah. No, I'm with that. I'm with that. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Marengo. This is a fun one.
Yeah, go ahead, Marengo.
Oh, man. No, dude, he better figure out what the hell he's doing. He got evicted from Cleveland. They took the keys to the stadium. He just got ran out of Carolina, man. He don't know he don't know where the hell to go. He used to live in Cleveland.
Man. It's sad to see, man, because I started off this podcast on the Baker Mayfield train. I thought he was going to go, with Christian McCaffrey and do something in Carolina. And now neither of them motherfuckers work there.
Can you imagine if you bought a Baker Mayfield jersey before the season?
Imagine if I bought
In
like myself a
Carolina.
Baker one and bought a McCaffrey one for my son or something. Like it's just none of them. Yeah, I would hate to have that. Definitely would much more hate to have the Baker one. I don't know though. The other one might end in an injury, but fired or injured, I don't know whichever one's worse. I think um, I think that what we should all recognize out of this situation is that you don't upset. This all started with Odell's dad dropping that video about Baker missing all these open receivers. And I don't know if y'all saw that, but it lost him his job in Cleveland. And it got like the 1 year circulation again. And then they waived him this week and he didn't even play. I was just like, damn,
How
man,
you get
Odell's dad
fired
got
on
a
your day off?
right. Odell's dad got a lot of pull in the league, bro. Like, you better chill. He gonna drop a TikTok about your ass, so it's gonna be over.
Did they get him on camera stealing boxes?
I don't know. I hate.
Come on.
He was just trying to build himself a little fort in the locker room. That shit. I don't know, man. I hate to see it for Baker. I would like to see him do something, but like we all got to admit, the dude came out hella cocky. He had some interviews last year after the whole ordeal with the Browns that it started off as I felt bad for him, but it went from sob story to cocky fuck real quick. Like, you know, it's I don't like to see anyone on the down, but hopefully he can bounce back. Someone I believe that we just got news that he got picked up by the Rams. Is that a reliable source we got that from? Cool. So he might be replacing Stafford, another injured quarterback. That might be his last chance, though. I remember seeing a lot of people just like really, really skeptical about Baker his entire career. Like Shannon Sharp, for instance. We all watch Skip and Shannon, right? Like that's he's always very, very critical about him and said that he wasn't going to have a job after this season. I thought that was a little harsh, but man, was he fucking right? So
yeah, I don't wish bad things on him
man.
at all, but yeah, it was very surprising because you know people are expecting him to have a great season. So
I was one of those people.
Oh yeah, I'm taking it easy on you.
I was one of those people, man. I believed in the second chance in Carolina. I was like, he did this in college. He transferred schools, got the Heisman, balled out. It's a repeat. He let me down. You let me down, man. I hope you do well in your future endeavor, and I hope it works out for you, man. But you let me down in Carolina.
Yeah, tough time to be a Carolina fan.
Yeah,
definitely.
Well, you know, Marengo, throwing this one to you now, man. What is your surprise? You look ready.
Boy, I said it last week. It's gonna happen. I spoke it into the universe, but the Kansas State Wildcats are Big 12 champions. My boy, we won 31-28 over the undefeated I can never say their name right. Horned Frogs. Man, it was a hell of a football game. It's what you want to see in a championship. Hell, that could have been the national championship right there. It was a hell of a football game. Will Howard came in just a few weeks ago and took over that team. He was supposed to redshirt this year, went 18 for 32, almost 200 yards and 2 tutties in a championship game. This kid has ice in his veins, and he is going to be the future of K-State football. This man looks fantastic. Watch out for this kid because he's just going to get better. And don't let me forget, this little 5'5", my height. I say little, he's my height. 5'5" monster we've got in Deuce Vaughn in the running back position, dude. 26 carries, 130 yards, and a tutty to seal the game. That man has carried us all season long. He's the biggest little dude I have ever seen in my life, and he runs like Isaiah Pacheco through the gap. He is a monster. Last thing I'll say, I do want to give a little bit of credit to TCU. You know, Max Duggan, Heisman candidate, hell of a quarterback. TCU had a hell of a season, 12-0, still in the playoff. I hope y'all do well. Honestly, y'all are my favorite team out of all the 4 that are there. So I really hope you bring it home for the Big 12. But damn it, we got you when it mattered for us. And so one last thing I want to say, man, is all hail Coach Kleiman. He has come in and completely raised the standard in Manhattan and taken over an organization that saw years of success under Coach Snyder. And honestly, I thought it was going to take us a little bit to get back to where we are. So all hail Coach Kleiman. Go Cats.
Yeah. Yes.
Nice.
Congratulations. I love to see the Wildcats do well. Growing up in Kansas, we always had KU, and we knew that they were going to be a staple in basketball. And then we also had K State. We knew they would be a staple in football. So it's nice to see a little bit of purple splashed on there and get a little
Sir.
well-deserved respect around the neighborhood.
Yes, sir.
Seeing that young running back there, small but mighty. He little flashback of Darren Sproles back in the day.
Yep.
So it's really fun to see them. I couldn't be more happy for that school, no question.
Same. Got to rep Kansas the right way, man. So
That whole segment was for you, Caleb.
yeah, we might be wishing it was KU, but I'll still be happy for it, man. Go Cats in this sense. But
Well, I just know
basketball's coming.
Knock referenced it earlier. I just know he'd have been rolling his eyes that whole time. The
Oh
whole
yeah.
time.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh man. I need to get something where I can hit a button and it just pops up on the screen whenever he's not
Just
here.
Caleb's face.
We need one for all three of us. Whichever one of us is missing, you can just hit the button and get the reaction.
Exactly. Man, my surprise. I really hate to go here because of I wouldn't do this last week, but the Cowboys went off, man. The Cowboys 33 points in the fourth. I mean, you got to put most of that on the defense, right? The defense was balling. They forced so many turnovers. I mean, it was a 2-point game at the beginning of the fourth, and then all of a sudden it was 54-19. That defense is insane. They are just making every team look terrible. And I know it was the Colts. It was a fading Matt Ryan with a high school coach. I get it. But, they just stomped the Vikings too. They just stomped this team. They're on a roll. They beat the Giants, who are also a decent team. So they're on a bit of a hot streak right now, man. They're just like I said about the Bengals. They're catching stride when it matters. We're not used to seeing the Cowboys play at this caliber this late in the season. They usually start to trickle off by now. So I might
Why don't
do
you
it.
just say we them Cowboys?
Don't you?
I
No,
might
no,
do
no, no,
it.
no, no, no,
I
no.
might
You
do
do
it.
not
Jump
get
on
to
the
say
train,
it.
John.
You do not
I
get to
might
say
Jump
it.
on the
do
train,
No,
John.
don't stand down. Stand
How?
down, sir. I invited you onto this bandwagon last week, if you don't remember. I invited both of you. I invited Caleb too. I specifically gave you an opportunity on the show in front of the whole world to jump on the bandwagon before it was too late. And you guys balked at me. You laughed at me. No, no, no. Don't get carried away with yourself. Now, look, they're putting up 40 bangers, 50 bangers week after week after week. Let's go, man. Cowboy, I told you what was going to happen when Dak came back. I told you what was going to happen when Dak came back. And they're firing on all cylinders.
Man, I've grown up in a world where since I was a child, it's always they're the team, the Cowboys. They're gonna do it. They're. We lived in Dallas for a while, man. I know what that shit was like. People just would not shut up about these funky ass Cowboys. I wouldn't do shit. People still talk about Romo, and he's better in the booth than he ever was on the field. It's insane to me, and he's good in the booth. I'm just saying, he's the Tom Brady of announcers.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I'm really giving Ross a lot of shit this episode. He's also a Cowboys fan. So, yeah, you know what I'm saying? The guy who said that Mark Andrews has no gap from Travis Kelce is the guy I had to hear Cowboys shit about every year growing up. So it's like, okay, well, fuck them. I never believed in them, but this is the first time ever I've been like, you know what? They look like they could run anybody right now. You know what I can't wait for is when they meet up with the Eagles again. That is going to be an amazing
indeed.
game.
And you know what?
My gosh.
And you know what? I'm gonna have a very, very Merry Christmas. Well, Christmas Eve, I suppose, because the Eagles are gonna stomp that ass, and they're gonna prove why they're the number one seed in that division. And when the Cowboys run into somebody, they're gonna win Wild Card Week. But when they run into somebody in the playoffs, they're gonna get sent right back to Dallas. I promise you, it's going to happen.
You know, I just believe in Micah Parsons, man. That dude
I love Micah Parsons. I will give
that
Micah
dude
Parsons
is
credit.
balling so hard. Like, and of course, like I'm from a town called Parsons, so like I remember I was hanging out at a buddy Dominic's place when he got drafted. and his wife's a Cowboys fan. So I remember it being a big deal, and I remembered his name because it was like my hometown, whatever. And I just haven't stopped hearing about the dude since. He's out there making plays. I watched the games. Like when we played the Cowboys, he was all over Mahomes. Like that dude is just everywhere. He's a pretty good quarterback. I don't know how to handle myself because I actually believe in the Cowboys. I've never had this feeling before. It's like I've changed.
Stop.
Am I going through something?
Caleb, listen. Caleb, call me when you see this. We have some stuff to talk about because listen, next week we're going. I can't do this by myself.
No, I don't want to hear it, and I'm going to tell you why I don't want to hear it. Because you guys just trying to give me shit talking about all this 49ers stuff, and I'm going to tell you right now, it doesn't matter if they had Kaepernick on their team. It doesn't matter if they had Jimmy G on their team. It doesn't matter if Joe fucking Montana came back and coached that team right now. They ain't got shit on the Cowboys. The Cowboys are built to win. They're built to win in the playoffs. They have one of the best defenses in the league. They have the best running back tandem. Actually, yes, I got you, Cleveland. Sure, they got a good one. But I'm telling you what, do not slouch on Pollard. Do not slouch on Zeke. The two of those guys combined back there are nasty. And you got the defense, and on top of that, you got a quarterback like Dak, and he's throwing the rock. What thumb? What thumb? I thought I don't know what they did. They like sewed it together like Chris Rock did the big piece of chicken. Like sewed his thumb together and throw his ass back out there on the field. And this fool is balling out. Look, I don't want to hear it. You want to believe in whatever team you want to believe in, but the Cowboys are for real. And I'm going to tell you what, if the Eagles see them again, I think the Cowboys win.
Well, I mean, they're gonna see each other. We know that's gonna happen. If they see each other healthy, that's what I want to see. I want to see a good game. And honestly, depending on how the next couple of weeks shake out, that could end up being for the whole thing, for the division. So we'll see.
Oh, yeah. Listen.
We'll see.
No,
obviously, Philly's got a bit of a lead there, but it's the NFL. You don't know what happened.
No, I refuse to let this go. This is ridiculous. You are not going to disrespect me and then just let it go.
No, I didn't disrespect you. I was talking about the raggedy ass Niners.
The Niners. All right, listen, man. Jimmy G has been enough for the past 3 seasons. He just took them to a conference game last season. I say this every week and you act like it's no big deal, but he went to a conference game last year with this same team, short of Christian McCaffrey. They only got better. And you know what? Brock Purdy...
But he went to the hospital last night.
Stop. Listen, Brock Purdy came in, and I know it's his first game. We said the same thing about Mike White when he came in. Brock Purdy looked damn good, and he looked ready for the moment. I hope he can stay consistent, but if he stays consistent and can manage the game at all, the 49ers are just as scary as they were with Jimmy G or Colin Kaepernick or whoever the hell else you want to call out back there. Because I'll tell you why, that defense will stop any team in the NFL right now. I'm talking 3 sacks by Nick Bosa alone, 4 interceptions, a defensive score just this past week. That defense is strong. And who was that against? The Miami Dolphins, who are arguably one of the top teams in the AFC. Not even arguably. They're second in their division, 1 game back from the lead. So stop telling me San Francisco's not for real, man. They are a scary team, and I promise you it's going to be a lot rougher game on Dallas. I won't say that they'll beat Dallas, but it would be a very, very close game. And the only reason I won't say I won't guarantee a victory to the Niners is just because that defense, I have full faith in them, but I think it'd be a 1-score game. I don't think the offense could drive down the field if it really mattered. They would have to get a lead early.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing I agreed with in everything you said is that Mike Purdy ain't much different than Jimmy G.
You had me with that one. I'm with that.
You believe what you want. You believe what you want.
And you know what? And you know what?
Y'all are ridiculous. He had 4 receivers over 20 yards in the game. He's spreading the ball around, 2 tutties. Yes, he threw a pick.
Did you just say over 20 yards?
Yes, 4 receivers over 20 yards. What I'm saying is he's spreading the fucking ball around. You look at other quarterbacks in the league.
I misunderstood what you were saying. I thought you meant like 4 people and he had 20 yards. I was like, what?
No. I
see
what
me
you're
all
saying.
hot over here.
Yeah, no, I see what you're saying. I got you. I mean, look, I agree with you. Look, the Niners are built defense and run the ball very similar to the Cowboys. I agree with you. I think Where you and I disagree is the value that a Dak Prescott caliber quarterback adds to the offensive side of the ball in Dallas as opposed to a Jimmy G slash Trey Lance slash Purdy led offense that they have in San Francisco. And in addition to that, I think the Cowboys defense is every bit as good or better than the 49ers defense. So I got to give the edge to Dallas. And if you don't see that, I totally respect that. I definitely do. But to say that Purdy, you're not losing much between Jimmy G and Purdy, I agree. But if you said you're not losing much between Dak and Purdy, everyone would disagree. Everyone can see that there's a different level and caliber of quarterback there. And so I think that's where I think we have a different value.
Right, and I do understand your belief in Dak because all Cowboys. I'm not saying you're a Cowboys fan, but you have rooted for him all year long. Oh yeah, it's coming back on you now. But all Cowboys fans have belief in Dak, and you know what? He is great throughout the regular season, man. He has to prove it to me. That's what it comes down to. I know he is a good quarterback, but he might get a chip and be the next Aaron Rodgers and just have one, be the regular season MVP. I don't know what the deal is, but he's got to prove it to me, man. I don't see a world where he gets past the second round.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's kind of the same thing with the 49ers now, though. Like, I know I give Jimmy G a lot of shit, but I think that I don't think that Purdy is going to be that team's Nick Foles. You know what I'm saying? I just don't see it. I think that the Cowboys, let's say that the Cowboys had the second defense and the 49ers had the first, right? I'll say that the 49ers have a better defense, but the difference in offense is just way too significant to ignore, I would say, between those teams. Especially with Jimmy G out, like they just can't get their quarterback situation right. Um, Cowboys also have a better run game too, by the way. They don't miss games. Christian McCaffrey may not even be playing by the time the playoffs start. Hasn't he already been hurt?
He was just back this week, actually. He was actually just back this week.
That's already been like 3 times this season we've talked about how Christian McCaffrey has come back.
If Debo gets a hangnail or a pinky toe, the Niners are done. If Debo Samuel if anything happens to Debo Samuel, that team is done.
I don't know. I guess we'll just agree to disagree for now, man. I
don't. No, come to my side. No, actually, last time I did that, you got my team fucked up by the Cowboys.
Oh, so. It's my fault.
Yeah,
it's my fault. Yeah. It's my fault that you chose to root for a shit team.
No. It's your fault that we chose a shit team.
No. It's not a shit team. The Minnesota Vikings have done great. Kirk Cousins.
A shit quarterback.
Kirk Cousins, yes, is your problem.
Hey, bro. but he's playing, and he hasn't stepped out of an end zone yet this season. He hasn't stepped into one either, but
Hey, Kirk Cousins stays available.
That's what I'm saying, though. Better than Jimmy G. Anyways, Cowboys, though, I think are definitely especially with Jimmy G's injury, I think that they are just a whole tier above the 49ers right now. I think the defense is solid, but, I think that the 49ers are built like a better Broncos team, right? Like the Broncos can't seem to get right on offense. The 49ers can handle themselves on offense. They're a decent offensive team with a really good defense, which is great. The Cowboys have a good offense with an amazing defense. So that's what makes them scary. So we'll see, though. I'd be very surprised, though, if the 49ers with Mike Purdy starting beat Dallas in the playoffs. That would shock me to my core, for sure, even though it's the Cowboys in the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, with the numbers that the Cowboys are putting up, I'll be honest with you guys. With the offensive numbers, I mean, what other team in the NFL has put up 50 points twice? Okay, and what other team in the NFL is holding teams to less than 17 points a game? Only one.
Probably the 49ers.
Right. So they have, literally the best offense and the best team. I know this sounds crazy, but they have they have the biggest upside on both sides of the ball in the entire NFL. It's crazy because they've lost so much that we just don't want to believe in them. But I'm telling you guys, if they keep showing up, this team keeps showing up, man, they really will go on that playoff run that I envisioned before the season started.
I told you guys in one of our very first episodes where we put out our 2 early predictions, and as soon as Knox said, I have the Cowboys going for the NFC, I remember saying on that episode, it was after I'd already picked my NFC pick, who we know did not make it, is I said, you know what? Never in my life have I seen either of these two things. Skip Bayless said that the Cowboys weren't going to do it this year, and Nok said that they were. Nok has not ever been on the Cowboys bandwagon.
I'm definitely not a Cowboys fan.
Like this is these shows are the only time I ever see the season in general is the only time I've ever seen him say nice things about them. So I know that they're well deserved because generally he takes the first chance he can at them. So it's very so when those two things happen, I said Skip Bayless said he's not going to do it. Knox said he is. Well, shit, it might be their year because that was new. It's crazy. So I have faith in them. Am I rooting for them? No. I hope the Eagles get that dub, but I'm just excited to see the playoffs, man. The whole NFL is shaken up after the Bengals beat the Chiefs. Now it's like both the AFC and the NFC are just such a toss up. Everybody's neck and neck, and it's honestly hard to even get into a 7 seed anymore with a 500 record. So we'll see. You guys have any other take on this?
No, I'm all set. That was a really good surprise, though.
Yeah.
Rango.
What?
Sorry. PK, my bad. PK, my bad.
Yeah, I know. It's always fun to talk about.
His was great. Yeah, no, I like the energy on that. I appreciate everybody who jumps on and listens, man. This was a super fun one. Hopefully, Chiefs come back this upcoming week. We got the Broncos. We all know how that's going to go. Denver Broncos fans, I hope you guys enjoy the game. You got us flexed out of prime time because you're so bad. But no, thank you everybody for listening, and thank you guys for jumping on here with me. We appreciate you, and if you guys are planning on putting any bets in this weekend, definitely use the promo codes below. And until next week, you guys have a great weekend.
Later.
You know what? Forget it. 4-13. Sorry.
Damn.
Sorry. 4-13.